Hey everybody, Peppermint here, and welcome back to another episode of The Anomaly. When we last left off, we were about to climb up this radio transmission tower to find out how we got sent this crazy email, and this is such a bad idea. I feel like we're gonna die, even though we're obviously not gonna die because we're the main character. But something bad's gonna happen. I just know it. So let's continue and see what happens. I have a really bad feeling. Up and down real quick, just a short look around in case someone had left something behind. That's it. I had to remind myself as my stomach twisted a little, as though this were a bad idea. Of course it's a bad idea, Tucker. This is the worst idea you've ever had. Oh, and now it's raining. Fantastic. When I looked up the ladder that rose up the tower, I was greeted with a few drops of water to the face. So, the heavens had decided to grace us with light rain the moment I was going to be climbing a questionably sturdy ladder up the side of a radio tower. Excellent. At least it was one more reason to get this done quickly. No, it's one more reason to turn around and not do this in the first place. I didn't want to be caught walking when the rain started to actually get heavy. I took a steadying breath before I started my way up the tower. It was a strange climb at first, given that it was going straight up and I was more used to ladders that had a slight angle to them. Though walking to school every day had kept me in decent shape for all the time that I spent at my computer over the last few years. It was not as though the climb wouldn't be manageable, just mildly uncomfortable were taken. A small device caught my eye beside the ladder, a tiny red light blinking on it. I had seen it from the ground, but thought it was coming from the platform. Instead, it appeared to be fastened to the dish itself. It seemed to be a transmitter of some sort. I could make out what looked to be components of a SIM card on it in the darkness. Perhaps this was what had generated the signal to send me that message. All I would have to do would be to take it in order to get more information. I was quite determinedly not looking down and making a reach for the little device when I nearly lost my grip in surprise as a now familiar sound started. Out in the open like this, the hum felt like it was all around me as it came from above. My hands gripped the ladder a little more and I looked around, wondering if my high vantage point over the treetops would give me a view of whatever was causing it. I didn't see anything at first, squinting around myself into the darkness as fear built in my gut more and more with each second that the hum continued on. Oh my god. Where's my cat? I need my cat. I'm scared. At last, I spotted something on the ground. Well, rest in peace, Tucker. It's been nice knowing you, but I'm relatively sure that we're gonna get murdered. A figure cloaked in shadows from the trees and tower, standing just inside the main outer fence. From my elevation, I couldn't make out how large it was exactly, but I could make out enough from the size of the fence and building to guess that it was about the same size as the figure that I had seen in my room the night before. I watched rigidly as it strode closer to the base of the tower and then looked up at me. It was like ice water was pumping through my veins at the action, but I could tell that this was my one chance to find out exactly what was going on here. I had to at least talk to this person. No! I forbid you. I forbid you from talking to this person. It is a murderer. It is a creepy, like, serial killer, and we're going to die. Whatever was waiting at the platform at the top of this tower could wait for me to come back in the morning with Ross. I adjusted my grip and started to carefully climb back down the tower. It would take only a few minutes to reach the ground at the most, so hopefully nothing would scare this person off in that time. That was, if it wasn't a cop that had spotted me in here. Though I hadn't seen any sort of police vehicle, so that seemed unlikely. I could return for the transmitter once I had spoken to this person. If it was the person who had put it here in the first place, it was possible that I wouldn't need to take the transmitter at all. I only made it 3 rungs down when something else familiar caught me by surprise. A familiar pain from a year before that I had hoped I would never feel again. The chances were too rare, too remote, and yet it happened. I knew this pain that felt like 1,000 bees stinging me from the inside. I had been struck by lightning. I knew that was going to be important. I knew that would come up later. Jesus Christ, Tucker! Oh, that's not good. It made sense, really, given I had been climbing a completely metal structure as it was beginning to rain, but the sensation still caught me off guard. By the time I had somewhat regained cognition, my fingers were slipping from the rung of the ladder that they held, and I was falling backwards from the tower, body limp as I couldn't manage to get it to respond the way I wanted to. My mouth was full of the tang of copper. There was an almost calm and blissful moment of free fall before everything went completely black, as I could tell I was almost at the ground. Well, this is how I'm going to die, I suppose. I swear to God, if the game ends right now, I'm gonna be pissed. Oh my God, there's more. It's not over yet. Okay, so I'm not gonna include the opening in my video because I don't know, I just don't like doing that. But if you want to watch it, there's a link to the opening video in the description below. And you should watch it. It's really well done. I was absolutely shocked when I opened my eyes again. I should have been dead after all, given the height that I had fallen from and the fact that I had just been struck by lightning. Wait, did we just get struck by lightning again? Okay, I missed that. I thought that his shoulder was hurting because he'd been struck by lightning before. I didn't realize that he just got struck by lightning again. My God. It's worse than I thought. There is no way we should still be alive right now. I had learned last year that lightning strikes were actually not normally fatal, but getting one right before that fall certainly would have increased my chance of survival. Yet there I was, laying in the rough gravel and staring up at the dark, cloudy sky, the radio tower that reached for it, and Ross's concerned face staring down at me with wide eyes. Ross! Thank God. I noticed right away that the tiny blinking red light high above was gone. But from the ground, I couldn't tell if the device was gone or if the lightning strike had completely fried it. Tucker! God, it's good to see you awake. Are you alright? And that said anomaly detected in the corner. And the little circle thingy over here is red and has a different symbol. So I don't know what that means, but that seems important. Tucker, God, it's good to see you awake. Are you alright? I I think so. I tried to move my hand and found that I could, thankfully. An attempt to wiggle my feet yielded a similar result when they responded just fine. I brought my hand to my neck and felt around it a little. The fact that I could move assured me that I hadn't snapped it in the fall somehow, but I felt the need to check anyway before I had slowly and carefully sat myself up, hands continuing to check for any sort of injuries. What are you doing here? I heard you get up. I couldn't let you go off on your own, man. You were fast, though. You left when I was still trying to get my pants on. I had to try and catch up after that. So, was Ross the figure at the bottom of the tower then? Or then you just walked over here and collapsed, passed out or something? Huh? What? I swear I thought you just dropped dead or something. Just walked over here. Yeah, you made a total beeline right for this spot. I thought it was kind of weird that you didn't check that building over there out at all, but I figured that there was just something about the tower that got your attention first. Total moth to flame kind of thing. I frowned slightly. That didn't make any sense at all. I had gone into the building, at least I remembered going. Hell, I remembered everything up until I'd been struck by the lightning. Yet now Ross was trying to tell me that none of that had happened. Had it or hadn't it? Sure, the lightning could have messed with my head a little bit. My thoughts had been a little scrambled last time right after the strike, after all. But if what Ross was telling me was true, then I wouldn't have been struck at all, just collapsed for no apparent reason. It just didn't make any sense. I ran a hand down my face and reached in my pocket to pull out my phone. How long had I been out here anyway? It had to have been a while. I turned on the screen of my phone and had to stare at it for a moment, simply dumbstruck by what I was seeing. The digital clock read 11 p.m., just like the last time that I had checked. That just wasn't possible. Even if I had been out for only a few seconds, at least some time would have passed with me climbing up the tower. There was no way it could still be that early. Unless... the hum. Was it possible that I had gained time instead of losing it? Are you alright, Tucker? Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm fine. I rubbed at my shoulder, trying to relieve the ache there at least a little. I knew that was where I had to have been struck, even if this ache was nothing compared to what it had been like when I was struck the first time. Otherwise, though, I felt perfectly fine. What were you even doing out here? I was checking out where that message I got came from. I thought if I came out here as soon as possible, I might be able to find the person who sent it to me, or at least some sign of who they were. It transmitted from this tower, and since there's not any power down at the station, I thought there might be something up the tower itself. The power lines look like they supply it independently. A message? Yeah, the encrypted one I got that it didn't look like we would be able to decrypt. Oh, cool. You'll have to show that to me. What? You're telling me that none of that really happened? What was up with Ross? He had been the one who told me that we might not be able to decrypt the message, so why was he acting like he hadn't even seen it in the first place? Yeah. Come on. Ross got up from the ground and dusted his knees off with his hands before holding a hand out to me. We should head back to my place before we get in trouble for breaking in here. Something is funky with this place if you passed out like that anyway. We can come back in the morning. I hesitated before taking his hand and letting him pull me to my feet. Ross was acting pretty strange, and combining that with the experience that I just had, I didn't really feel up to going back to his house. So, there are a few possibilities here. 1, Tucker's lost his goddamn mind. 2, Ross has lost his damn mind. Or 3, this isn't actually Ross. I don't know, but I'm getting really creeped out. I think I'll actually head home. I'm not feeling super well, so it might be better for me to just stay home tomorrow. Plus, I don't want you to have to deal with it if I go getting sick at your house. Are you going to be alright on your own? Yeah, just a little nauseous is all. I'll be fine once I get home and lay down. The lies came easily to me. Far easier than if I told him the true reason that I wanted to go home. Perhaps the shift in time had kept him from seeing the message. That couldn't be possible, though. I remembered it after all. If the hum's time shifts affected memory, it surely would have done something to mine as well. Alright, at least let me walk you home, though. It's on the way, and I don't want you just passing out in the dirt again without someone around. Fair enough. The walk home was strangely quiet, at least on my end. Ross was clearly trying to strike up a conversation of some sort, but I was too lost in my thoughts to give more than a few passing words in response. I would have felt bad if I wasn't so caught up in my confusion of what had really happened at the radio tower. We parted ways at my front door, and I watched Ross until he rounded the corner before going inside. It was only after I had gotten to the bathroom that I realized I hadn't asked him if he had heard the hum before seeing me collapse. I resolved that I would just ask him in the morning. The ache in my shoulder had begun to fade, but I decided that a shower might help work the rest of it out before getting some sleep. I worked my shirt off and paused as I caught a glimpse of myself in the large mirror over the granite bathroom counter. I stepped closer and studied my reflection as my fingers prodded at my shoulder where the scars marking my first lightning strike met and where I thought I had been struck this time. There was nothing there. No burn like before, not even any redness. There was no real sign that lightning had touched me in that spot at all. And yet, the markings on my body had changed and spread. The scarred tendrils reached over more skin than they had before, trailing over more of my skin and expanding the pattern. I twisted and craned my body around to try and get a proper look at the totality of the expansion with only one mirror. It didn't seem to be all that drastic aside from one. The branch that had always reached up between my shoulder blades to touch the base of my neck had lengthened, stretching up my neck itself to barely reach the base of my skull. I shuddered and ran my fingers over it, not wanting to know what would have happened if it, and presumably the electricity that had created it, reached up any higher. A scrambled brain was my best guess. I shook it all off and clambered into the shower, turning the warm water on at full blast as though it would wash away the stress of the past few days. Unfortunately, there was only so much a hot shower could do. I climbed out of the shower in about the same state that I had entered it in. I toweled off as I plodded down the hall to my bedroom and tossed on an old t-shirt to sleep in. Just as I was about to climb into bed, my phone buzzed on my nightstand. I picked it up to see a text from Val on my screen. Hey, I'm sorry about not believing you over all that stuff that had happened. I've just been kind of freaked out too, you know? We've read this already. Well, that was really strange. I thought I had gotten that text hours ago. Yeah, we definitely did. I opened up my text and found that it was as if I had never received the text at all earlier. According to my phone, this was the first time I had gotten it. Great, one more thing to add to the pile of strange occurrences that I had experienced over the past 24 hours. I sighed and flopped back into my bed, utterly exhausted. They could be deciphered in the morning. I had already been up since the wee hours of the morning today, after all. I could afford to rest just for a moment. God damn it. um, wow. Uh, I don't really know what to say. Alright, so that is the end of the Anomaly demo. and holy crap, that surpassed my expectations by like a mile. It started out really slow and I still enjoyed it, but I just wanted it to get to the story already. And once it did, I mean, wow, I can't wait till till the full version comes out because I seriously need to know what the heck is going on. So, I mean, I can't even really describe my thoughts right now because so much happened in the last few episodes that I'm still like trying to put everything together. But I mean, clearly something supernatural is happening. At first, I thought it was just going to be like some kind of government mind control thing. That was my initial thought. But, and I mean, that still could be the case, but I really feel like it's something supernatural, especially with the weird figure that we saw in the darkness. And after I brightened that picture and it had scary, glowy, non human eyes. So, yeah, this game is really good. I would say I have two complaints. One being that it starts really slow and it may deter some people from wanting to see what happens next. Um, and the fact that there's no choices at all. I mean, I don't know if this game is ever going to have choices or if it just hasn't had any yet, but I think that kind of would turn some people off from playing it. Myself, I'm a very patient person, so I don't care. I'm gonna play through the whole thing regardless. But I'm really glad I stuck with it and just gave it a chance. And then the other thing that bothers me is just that there's a lot of typos in it, and I mean it's a demo, so I'm not going to like hold that against them or anything. But those are just the two things that I have to say are like need to be worked on a little bit. But other than that, this game is really, really amazing. Probably one of the best indie visual novels I've played, and I haven't even finished it yet. So I don't know when the full version is going to come out, and I'm really sad about that because I want to know what's going to happen, and I might not find out for a while. But I will definitely be playing the full game when it comes out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this series. We have a big mystery to solve when this game one day comes out in the future. And I will see you guys then. So don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day!